In charge, but you back on heaven water. Here's a wine, bia. Oh, if I say I'm going when I invite. I don't want you last week.
Wow, finally. Congratulations.
Thank you. Very beautiful young fair woman.
Hey,
When I can second wife because you're not telling me nafia.
wow, Kihonere.
Okay, on a lodge and zoo. And gidi. Because you're not gonna tell you. So, Miss Emma, we go see you so that if you are mal. I can second wife get earlier. Not on the abon any linen is in on. Because.
Now, where the final?
Oh, my even make a man name of one case you don't work can even.
Case of geek.
Last garden can you make ye?
On a bia kine, who quabbing were on ye come. Yana can walk look or go kiss a libe give me a nego. Anima go no gwegon.
It was a qualia one, Mobiaki wopple more wiggle. Oh, you kill your name on William, then I way pretend your cats and Maria. Cello. Okay, or can you put a gun on William Dime? You went back and just go wiggling and key. Koya Bamos Alamon, it is him and only gumbo mele for what I'm more mouthful. I'm walk away. Mel even why William, not tell you Bico can nearly draw. Or when you have an end. I'm mad to me buy a make it go be taken. No, if you're not changing your life, I can change your life history. Here's a one you help on a melon can wise, so I will help in Chocky Melon. Come on, I give you, make him and walk with him. Pieba is a wine of my can way. Never I can change a couple of warning. Mosabana Managa finish shrine, where we can our waji, and we cats in Junana, where there's only more brown and cakey go, Yamana image way far from Buddha. And then give fat, self here. Oh, what if you self one? He will. That's one you can know one of village yoke. When I am, I shall.
This is obviously a comedy show, but there is always something to learn from anything when we pay strict attention to the message being passed. In the conversation that these individuals had about performing ogwu, now the man, he made mention of the female spiritualists asking or presenting to him the option of ogwu as an available alternative towards making money. Now, he did not make any mistake because he is quite aware that within the Igbo cosmological system, women who function as spiritual intercessors do have their limitations or do have their ascribed roles that they are performing. Now, they also have roles or activities or functions that they are not also expected to perform. Now, the three examples that I have here is the traditional practice of Chi, which is the consecrating of the chi energy within an obosi, within an effigy. The second one is Awu, the consecration of the Awu energy within an effigy. And the Igbo and Igbo falls under this ability to perform Igbo. So he is aware that women don't do those things. So when he now posed that question, Igbo-Ezenwanyi, are you still a woman? He was making sense from our traditional perspective because he is quite aware that women do have their limitations and they are not expected to do this rite of Igbo. Now, within our spiritual system, women are perceived as life givers, as portals towards reincarnations, and this basically makes a lot of sense when they now say this is the reasons why our ancestors do not expect their women to dabble in activities that is energy dense, or consumes a lot of spiritual and ancestral energy. So women do not perform some of these traditional rites. Now, another point he made here is he was afraid, the fear of ogwu, which could lead to him sacrificing his unborn child in order to placate or to amplify the effectiveness of the charm. Now, ogwu within the Igbo cosmological system, we know it as alchemy. And to an extent, we also refer to it as AI, an artificial intelligence. And this is because ogwu is not rooted in any ancestral or natural principle. It is not like the interaction that our Chi and Ezumes that they have is some sort of an organic relationship. Therefore, before something happens to you, your Chi would consult your ancestors, would consult your Ndi-Otu, would consult every aspect of your spiritual life before the execution of that thing, or probably you want something, or before the execution of some sort of destiny, or some sort of, and before anything would happen to you, there is a communication that happens. Now, because ogwu is not tethered, it does not exist within the roots of an individual, it can now function as an artificial intelligence, something that is smart enough, but it is artificial, it is not rooted, it is not natural, and primarily it is not bound to any ancestral or natural principle. And this gives it the characteristics or tendencies to outgrow its master and operate with its own discretion. Now, this is when we have an ogwu that has been instituted with ebune, a ram, could tomorrow demand for a cow, efi, and next tomorrow it can now demand for the placenta of a child or any human parts that can be sourced at gravesites or mortuaries. Now this becomes dangerous because this ogwu is not performing based on activities, is no longer performing based on the instructions that it was given. Because when an ogwu is being instituted, it is being told, this thing, you're going to do this thing, you're going to perform this function, and in return we're going to give you this. Now at some point, this ogwu could now decide that it does no longer want to collect your cow or your ebune, and could now decide to collect another thing. This is when we say that it now has its own consciousness and it is now acting on its own discretion. Now, thirdly, the indignity of female spiritualists. Now, aside from those that practice, those that practice this calling of Ezenwanyi during the time of our ancestors, the next generation of Ezenwanyi have suffered the indignity of religious folks who saw them or their affiliation to water spirits as a sign of individuals who are morally decayed and who lack the morals to live peacefully with their husbands and their spiritual and their significant other. Now, this ascription never ended. And currently, with our claims of being awoken and now looking towards our traditional practices, we are still playing the cards that was started by those missionaries, those early missionaries, to indignify the dignity of the black woman. And most especially, those that answered their cosmic call, Ndi-Ezenwanyi. The kind of insult that they throw at these people these days. Now, they are being indignified by the various unflattering names that they are being called, such as Ashawo, feminist, Ndi-Ezenwanyi, and so many unflattering names that I cannot even exhaust if I start going through the list, especially in our indigenous language. Now, the male folks that engage in this name calling are not aware that they are playing the games of their colonial masters, who taught them that the black woman is not deserving of respect or cannot exist or function in the face of power. And so they are continuing their master's claims and socialization while covering it up with being followers of the old ways. Now, finally, my daddy taught me that in every nonsense, there is an existence of sense. So that would my resolve. Now, whenever I have a conversation or I read things, I make it a mission to take what I want and discard the rest that I don't feel that are valuable. So when I watched this comedy, I had every notion to pick it up, dissect it, and give it another alternative. So we're not just laughing at the comedy, but we're also learning something in return. So I hope I'm able to do that with these few points of mine. And until next time, Yagazie.
Okwikusiri we moyi nne mmiri bịaza mo ọkwa gị kwele mụ nkwasị na nwa mmiri agaghị akwọta okwikusiri